to the closing session for the day. And so let me hand over to Sadvika, and thanks again for a fantastic session. Over to you, Sadvika.
Thank you so much, Nankali, and all our donor panelists. I'm sure it was very interesting for our country colleagues to see the faces and names behind the word donors. So thank you for making time and being with us. My job today, right now, is to give you a little overview of the key takeaways of the day, and then introduce the next session, in which we have a fantastic guest speaker to help close the meeting. I think today we started the day with a session on human rights and accountability. And we really discussed what does it mean to take a human rights-based approach. And that means asking which girls are most affected, why, what are the root causes, and who has an obligation to do something about it, and what are they going to do? And finally, how do we hold them accountable? We learned about the various accountability mechanisms for ending child marriage, whether social accountability, administrative, political, legal, quasi-judicial, or international accountability mechanisms. But we also know that human rights and accountability, they're not just lofty principles. These are real tools to achieve real change. And that was proven by the amazing examples we heard from across the world. We heard Latin America, Mozambique, Maldives, Kyrgyzstan, Uganda, and more. And that was a fantastic session for all of us. Then we talked about child marriage in humanitarian settings and how it's being addressed through health, education, and protection systems and services, but also the empowerment of adolescent girls, the involvement of fathers and mothers, and all of this being, adolescent-led change integrated within this, and broadening partnerships beyond the big international organizations and the work we're doing with young feminist organizations who are based on the ground. But we also heard about, the gaps and where we have to do more to advance the work on prevention, digital innovations as one tool in the prevention work, making services more child and adolescent friendly, increasing the visibility of girls in data and assessments, moving our data and evidence efforts more towards evaluations, and conducting advocacy to prioritize child marriage in humanitarian settings. In this final session that's fresh in your memory, we heard the donors talk about what I heard really truly multi-sectoral commitments to ending child marriage, which is in line with our own program and its frameworks, whether it's directly to ending child marriage or support to gender equality, young people, sexual and reproductive health and rights, education, social protection, to research. We heard all of these areas of support mentioned. And in terms of the principles, really looking at core, flexible, and long-term support to feminist movements by supporting women-led organizations with feminist principles, but also combining support for feminist movements with work by other actors, because the key to success really being to work through diversity and collective action. And so everyone present here today is a part of that action. So thank you for being with us for the whole day. It is now my pleasure to welcome Nadia. Let me just make sure that she is connected.
She's here.
Welcome, welcome, Nadia. I have the honor and privilege of introducing you today. Let me just pull up your wonderful bio. The Honorable Nadia Ahmed Abdullah, she serves as the Chief Administrative Secretary, that's the Deputy Minister, in the Ministry of Information and Communication Technologies, Innovation and Youth Affairs in the Republic of Kenya. Although you're not joining us from Kenya today, I believe you're a world traveler, you're joining us from Ghana. She has an MA in International Relations and Cultural Diplomacy, and she's driven really by the zeal and attitude to amplify three things among youth and women: representation in different and diverse fields, participation and cohesion of women and young people, and talent and innovation as a form of job creation and skill building to ensure better livelihoods. She's also a fierce advocate for mental health across multiple platforms and raising awareness on the topic. She's currently spearheading the Kenya Ni Mimi campaign, that brings together youth and women and various stakeholders to offer youth opportunities and growth in a variety of industries and sector. So welcome, Nadia. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon or good morning or good evening from anywhere you are. My name is Nadia Ahmed Abdallah. I am the Chief Administrative Secretary, which is Deputy Minister. And I'm very glad and pleased to be here today. So, many of you here are familiar with child marriage and how it affects thousands of girls around the world. As you know, each year, over 15 million girls are married before the age of 18 years old. And this translates to 10,000 girls every day, 28 children every minute, and that makes it 1 in every 2 minutes. It is happening right now to young girls who neither choose or want to or be part of this or even understand the marriage itself. And a lot of young girls are very unaware of the consequences and are scared to say no, and in most cases are unable to question such decisions or do anything to stop it. They're married off. Most of the times I come from a place where child marriage and young girls are really married off at a very, very early age. And when each of us look back at our childhood and we remember when you're about 8 or 10 years old and you reflect on the things you enjoyed doing most, your dreams and aspirations, I believe every child has some kind of dream. You had a dream, I had a dream, I still have a dream, you still have a dream. And every child loves hanging out with their friends, going out and playing, and just being the child that they want to be. But unfortunately, millions of the girls around the world don't have this privilege of being children. And most unfortunate thing is that the very people who are supposed to take care of them and protect them, sadly, are the ones that sentence them to their lives to suffer. That child marriage impacts on girls' education as they're not able to continue with it. And the worst part, it impacts their mental and physical health. Mentally and physically, they're usually not ready to become wives or mothers and can suffer dangerously. And sometimes fatal consequences of rape, early pregnancies, causing them to deliver at tender ages with some suffering complications such as miscarriages, fistula, since their bodies are not developed well enough. Some experience FGM and GBV and are isolated as they never existed. And so no child should ever have to go through this, no one. And you may be wondering why a deputy minister in charge of innovation and youth affairs at the age of 30 is concerned with issues of children. And one of the reasons is I'm aware of the issue. I come from a region in my country that practices child marriage. I was fortunate enough to not be part of the statistics that do that because my parents really believed in education and really vocalizing my voice, hence why I was fortunate enough to go through my education up until master's level. The issue of child marriage is close to my heart. I'm really passionate about young girls, and my interest also stems from the fact that I've been working on youth development issues, and I'm passionate about providing opportunities for young people to better themselves and have better livelihoods. I always say this, that I thank God that I had the privilege of enjoying my childhood. A few challenges, of course, because I had parents who allowed me to be a child and allowed me to dream and aspire to be who I am. But at the same time, I grew up in a very strict setting, having an Islamic background. They allowed me to go to school and instilled the most important element, which is education, that I've said, because my parents really invested heavily in education, and they helped me understand how the world is. They molded me, but they also let the world mold me as well through the different mistakes that I made in high school and university. And so having gone through challenges, especially as an African girl child, even though I come from one of the most marginalized communities, which are the Swahilis, on the coastal line of Kenya, I never let that define me or my chance to be better and to do better. Not for anyone, but for myself, because it's all about me. I made a choice to not give up on my life and change the narrative because it has to be changed. I decided to create my own path and make a name for myself and my parents to be proud. And I might be saying this and people might be thinking, but she's just 30 and she's saying this. But even being 30 and being appointed to this position at the age of 29, it is very important that I usually narrate my story as a way to inspire and also motivate young girls to not give up and to always be vocal when such circumstances are brought to their table. I had big dreams, but I never imagined being a deputy minister in my country at a very young age of 29. A position I believe came about by the spirit of volunteerism that I had in me. I did community work for a long time, doing everything just to help young women to realize their potential in my community. I worked towards the change I wanted to see, and I became the change that I loved. I gave in my all because I always had and have this belief and notion that you just never know who is watching. And indeed, His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya was watching. And that was how I was singled out from all the others who had the same zeal and passion that I had. And during the swearing in, His Excellency the President actually mentioned my name out of all the others who are being sworn in and appointed, and say that with all that you've done, as a young girl, now you have the backing of the government and the president, now go and create your own road. So my position allows me to sit on tables with other key decision makers and influence change. I'm in Ghana right now doing the same thing. I'm leading a delegation of 20 young people, women and men, just to show them the way and make them understand that being vocal and speaking up openly, even in a crowd that is not familiar with yours, is very important. And throughout my work with developing partners such as UNFPA and UNICEF, I'm more aware of the gravity of issues such as child marriage and other risks related to, such as FGM, which is common in our country, and GBV, which is common in my community. I get to meet, interact, and engage with many young girls, and to get to hear many of their stories, in which they include being victims of child marriage and challenges they go through. Investing in the current generation of girls is investing in a better future. I always say this, that is equal and that is safe for them, their families, their communities, and nation at large. World over, governments have made commitments and passed laws to end child marriage, and leaders have made it a priority, including our country. Progress is commendable, but girls still need us to stand with them to end child marriage and help them achieve their potential. In my work of empowerment and development, I come across substantial statistics about women being poor, but we should look back and ask ourselves, if there are millions of children being forced into marriages and not allowed to continue with their education, where their dreams are shattered and cutting off most of these children who have potential, how would they then, in their adulthood, be able to provide for their households' contribution to develop their communities and nation? It becomes a never-ending cycle. And if there is no reduction in child marriage, nothing is done to change this trend, an estimated amount of 70 million girls will be married as children over the next 5 years, and the global number of child brides will reach 1.2 billion by 2050. So we really need to take time to understand the drivers of child marriage and develop and implement responses and programs that are easily adaptable to the different communities and the different countries, in order for us to also help national governments and societies to prioritize this issue. However, several factors still challenge delivery of results, and therefore governments need partners like UNICEF and UNFPA in implementing global programs to end the vice. So today I commit to create spaces and more empowerment opportunities for girls to be heard and work to ensure their meaningful participation. I promise every single platform to get to speak and act against child marriage, with the belief that one day every single girl will enjoy the freedom of being a child, the freedom of going to school and focus on their education, freedom of realizing their dreams and potential, the freedom of choosing who they want to marry in their adulthood. I always tell young girls, I'm 30, I'm still not married. And even though in my community, the pressure is very high, and even though in my community, I'm always told to tone it down because I'm too assertive, I still continue to champion for girls to be more assertive and for there not to be early marriages or child marriage or teenage pregnancies. I mean, I remain available as a voice to ensure that every girl should be able to dream and live her dream. I really commit to advocating and putting my voice out there. And in line with this, at the end of this year, I will be launching my book called Of Dreams and Whatever, because I believe it is the best way to amplify my voice. A book that is going to talk about a marginalized young girl from a community that is never seen as one that is progressive, is never seen as one where they would bring about young women like myself who would be assertive and still occupy high positions in the government. So it's really a necessity of having women from marginalized communities and other communities as well to speak to girls who have gone through experiences like mine, to understand that no matter what, you can still achieve your dream, and no matter what color of how you look, you are still phenomenal and you're still unique in your own way. And that is why the theme of my book is Butterfly Cycle of a Woman. As a butterfly goes through metamorphosis, so does women. Of Dreams and Whatever relates to young girls, young children and women and youths, especially from the communities and especially from the world that we live in today, filled with pressure, filled with not understanding, and filled with child marriage issues, FGM, and so on and so forth. And so as I close this meeting, I would like to highlight the fact that the generation that we all envision of a safe and equal society lies in the choices and voices of young girls and young women like myself. I would like to again commend UNFPA and UNICEF, who have remained steadfast in their commitment to deploy tangible, practical, and ambitious measures to create an enabling environment to achieve this goal through scaled up prevention programs and comprehensive, accessible, affordable, and quality services. You recognize young girls' zeals, acknowledge their challenge, and affirm your presence to translate their aspiration with the curve of their dreams into transformative results. As His Excellency the President always tells young people and young women like myself, the path is there. Now you have to trade on. And I remember last year, December 7th, I asked His Excellency the President of my country, if I were to be president one day, is it achievable? And my president told me, what is stopping you? In fact, if I really wanted to be the first youngest female president, he will mentor me himself in order for me to achieve that. So thank you for the organizing committee and for UNICEF and UNFPA for this meeting, as well as the guests and the partners for taking time to attend this crucial meeting. I remain committed to the cause, and thank you for your kind attention.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much, Nadia. I'm supposed to come in and speak after you, but I just want to switch off my camera and say, guys, the meeting is over. And with those words, who can say any more? Asante, asante, asante. You're on mission. You made time to come and speak to us, to inspire us. You're showing us what it means. Give girls opportunity. Look at where you are and where many other girls could possibly be. I thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I thank you so much for the book that you're writing, which I think will continue to inspire more and more young people. This is what we're looking for all the girls in the world to be the second Nadias. I'm seeing people saying that we need to have a Nadia in every country in the world. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate and thank you for your time while on mission. We really, really appreciate it. So colleagues, friends, partners, donors, you name it. We've been so grateful for this period and time. Our meeting is finally coming to an end. It's been 3 days of amazing, amazing work, amazing presentations. We started to talk about the vision that we had developed in 2019. We started off with looking at the evidence and looking at the caseload. Claudia was talking to us about, look, we still have so much more that we still need to be able to do. We brought in, the Chandras, the Anjus, etc. It feels like it's so far away now. I don't know how everybody else is feeling. It's like, was that day one? What did we do in day one? We talked about, knowledge and how we can be able to manage the knowledge that we require to be able to respond at the speed and rate that is required to meet the elimination goal. We came into how COVID has impacted on the program and what kind of adjustments we have done and still need to do, because COVID clearly is going to be with us as we go forward. We looked at our theory of change as a global program group. Is it still relevant? Do we need to make changes? Who do we need to be able to partner with? Today, for me, you know, the final day is always amazing. You look around the participants and you think you're going to lose out on people, and oh my God, we start off with a powerful session with Alfonso, Jose Roberto, looking at issues of accountability. Sadvika brought us into issues of humanitarian context. And of course, I can't even stop to think about, you know, the wonderful session we had yesterday on gender transformation. So much shared, so much discussed. And for me, I don't know about you, so much learned as well. So I'm so grateful. I don't want to take any more time. We've started, we had a long session now, we didn't have a break. Thank you to our partners for the continued support that we have within the program. I hope we're living up to what you'd expect to have from this program. Thank you to everybody from all over the world who's made the time to be able to be with us. And of course, none of this would be possible, you know, without our moderation team, Martha Neelams, Joachim Thies, Katerina, the interpreters. Please, let's give them a hand, because if it wasn't for them, the Philo team behind the scenes, without all of you, we could not and would not have been able to deliver on this. I'm so, so grateful to you. And then my final word is to the Global Program Support Unit. I don't know, colleagues, if you're able, and you know, we have an amazing unit that works around the global program. A lot of the time, because of the representational role, you see me as a coordinator, but really, Sadvika, Jose Roberto, Joseph, Helen, Christine, these are amazing people who are behind us and who have made all of this possible. And I'm so grateful to all of them. Thank you so, so much. So for the final scene, I'd like to hand over to Jose Roberto and Katerina, who have a surprise for us in closing this amazing session. Thank you so much. We'll be reaching out as usual with our final take-home messages, many other things that Christine will be sharing with you. So please be on the lookout for this. But for now, over to Jose Roberto and Katerina, and thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nankali. Thank you, Sadvika. Thank you, everyone. Well, for all of those who know me, you know that I love dancing. And of course, I'm from Latin America. Not all the people in Latin America really like dancing, but I do. So please, if you can open your camera or turn on your camera and stand up with us, please do it right now, because we are going to say, you know, goodbye and close this meeting, just dancing around together.
I see still a lot of
we
black
are starting
screens.
the day here in New York, and in other parts of the world, you're maybe, you know, ending your day. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you dance, you know, correctly, if your movements are okay or not. That's not the point. The point is to really move together our body and just, you know, say goodbye for now, just dancing something. For the Africans, this song would be, you know, easiest, not necessarily for me, but let's all do it together. Let's go, Katerina. Just follow the movements, following the screen in front of you that Katerina will project for all of us. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have
Amazing.
Bravo, everyone. Bravo.
Amazing.
Great dancing.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you,
to
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good to be with you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
For all the participation.
Thank you and good night.
Night.
They'll share.